During this session, we are going to speak about how to extend Eclipse Che to build custom cloud IDEs. So you will see that there are various aspects of Che that you can extend. We will do some demos. We will introduce a little bit the extensibility model and do demos of extensions. So for this session, we are two. You have Florent Benoit, who is the technical architect leader at Code Envy, and myself, Stevan, Meur, who is a product manager at Code Envy. So as a basic introduction of Che, for those who are not very familiar with Eclipse Che, we built it in order to solve the problem of the configuration of a developer workspace. So we redefine the model of a workspace to include the IDE, the project files, and the runtimes. And by runtime, we mean all the dependencies and the software that you need in order to build, test, and run your projects. Those runtimes are based on Docker machines, so you can create a workspace based on a stack, which will be either one Docker container or a set of Docker containers. So we support Docker files and Compose files. This way, you can create workspaces and use runtimes that are very close to the ones that you are using onto production. And with Che, you will inject developer agents, services, which will be used in the IDE in order to provide all the features and the developer capabilities for the workspace. So extending Eclipse Che could be done in multiple ways. You can, of course, customize the browser IDE. So you can create extensions which will add actions, and we will see that during the demo. But you can also extend Che by adding your own custom stack. So if you have a project which is relying on a set of dependencies, you will create the stack which will allow the developer of your project to create the appropriate workspace, which will have all the dependencies that they need in order to be ready to code. So basically, Che extensibility model is based on extension. So an extension inside of Che is Java code. It's JavaScript and CSS code. We also use JWT in order to create the UI. All of this is packaged as a plugin and deployed inside of an assembly. In the assembly, you have the server part, and you also have the client part. Of course, you can change, you can modify the Che core as well. So at this moment, we have a growing list of plugins inside of Che. So we have the support of Java, and for Java, we actually reuse the JDT inside of Eclipse Che. So we took the JDT and we remove all the SWT code in order to create services which are used inside of the browser IDE. You also have the language server protocol, and I will speak about that a little bit later. And you have all sorts of plugins for Git, for Subversion, for SSH, and so on, and Maven, of course. So the language server protocol, it's something very interesting, which is kind of new. It has been introduced during last 6 months, and it is a contribution from Microsoft, Red Hat, and Code Envy. So the basic idea is that inside of Eclipse IDE, we have tools to do code analysis for Java, for C++, for other languages. Inside of Visual Studio, we have the same kind of tools, but it's different. And inside of other editors, it's the same. So could we not define a protocol which will define interfaces which can be used by IDEs and text editors in order to provide language support and code analysis and basic features that you are used to get inside of an IDE, like refactoring, code navigation, displaying the documentation, and so on. So the language server protocol is really done on this path, and we have contributions from Zend, for example, who add the PHP language server to Eclipse Che. So it's very interesting because if you think about PHP today, there is no IDE built in PHP, but the language server is built in PHP. So the PHP community is able to create the language server and to add features and capabilities to the language server, which will be available into many IDEs, not only Eclipse Che, but also VS Code or Eclipse IDE when the language server protocol will be support. Oh, it does not respond. Okay, so that was a basic introduction for the extensibility model of Che. Now I will let Florent go do some demos. So the basic flow for the demo is first we will create a Go stack. We will add a custom stack to Che. We will create our first custom assembly, and then we will discuss about how to extend the browser IDE and how to create a service which will be executed on the server side.
Thank you, Stevan. So the first step, I will show you how to extend Che, but without coding into Che. Maybe I need to zoom out. So the first idea is I want to create a new stack to experiment Go language. And if I go on my Che server, we should say, like, if we don't have Go, in fact. Let's say we have a language that we want to use, but it is not yet plugged inside Eclipse Che. So for this, I'm using Code_NVIO, but I should be able to use Che as well. It's just that for the network performance, it's better to use a remote server. So at first, I will create a custom stack, and I need to write my own stack. So here, I will write my own Docker file. So I already have all the instructions. So here, I'm using an existing Docker image, and I install all the stuff to have a Go ready in my Docker image. And I enter my workspace name, Golang, and I hit create workspace. Maybe I have not a network. It seems that I have not I'm not connected.
Network issue, sorry.
So I hit create workspace. My workspace is created. Then I connect on my workspace. Then it will boot my Docker image. And this Docker image will be my workspace runtime. And inside my workspace runtime, I will be able to add all my projects. So here it's installing all the Go stuff. And when I will ready, it will boot the workspace, and I will be able to create my project. So if you want as well, instead of writing your own Docker file each time into the workspace recipe, what you can do is to build your own image and then only enter the from your Docker image. So when you will start your workspace, we won't compile or build the Docker file each time. So here I have my project, my workspace ready. I create a blank project, which is a Go project. So it's an empty, and I need to add my first Hello World Go sample. I'm copy pasting the sample. Okay. Then I want to run this Go sample. So I need to write some commands. So I will use the edit command. We have the choice to add a grid command, Java command, Maven command. It's for my use case, it's a custom one. So I will say run hello world. And for this, I need to go inside my Go folder. So every time that you have your project inside your workspace runtime, it's added inside the /projects. So my project name is Go, so I do cd projects Go. And I will go run hello Go. Okay. Then I hit run, and my program is working. We can also add new command, this time to compile. So I will build the sample. And this time, we can see here that the program has been generated. And this time I will use a terminal to launch the Hello program. So we can see that I have not developed any extension by writing some codes, but I'm able to add the support for new language. I can add new commands. And then when I have all these commands, I could export my workspace to someone else, and this person will be able to use the same kind of services. So now I will show you how to create your own extension by coding. Okay. So the first step is that you need to use today Maven to build your extension inside the IDE. And we are also using Git for the client part. So all the Java code is compiled into JavaScript code. So here is a basic extension. And the goal of this extension is to add some notification. So if I go back in the events, it's to add some new events there. So the first step when you want to create new extension is that you write the extension class and you add the extension annotation. This annotation comes from Che core API. And you can inject all your resources inside your constructor or something else. And then in that case, we will register some action and create a menu. So the menu is, if I go back in the IDE, this is the menu. And here it's the toolbars. So when you want to add something in the menu, you get the menu from the action manager. The action manager has been injected by Juice. Then you create your new menu. You say that the menu needs to be added at the last, at the end of the menu, at the last, on the right. And then you add all the actions that you want inside this menu. And if you want to add a new toolbar, it's the same pattern. You get the toolbar item, you create the new toolbar icon, you set the icon, and you register all your action inside this toolbar group. So now the action, it's pretty simple. You have to extend the action class, which is a core class of Eclipse Che. And what you need to do is to override the action perform. So each time that you click on an action, it will trigger this method. So in this case, we will call the notification manager, which is displaying a notification. What we want to do as well is to be able to start Jetty, to stop Jetty, and to build and run the web application. So we have new action for that. It's the same pattern, except that instead of using notification manager, we are using command manager. And in the action performed, we create the name of the command. So like before, when I wanted to start Go commands, I'm writing here the name of my command, the command line to use. It's a custom command, and I can use some extra attributes. I need to say on which container I need to execute the command. So for that, I'm using the default machine. So this is the same pattern for all the start, stop, and build and start action. The only difference is the name of the action and the name and the command line to execute. When I have this, I can build the project, this small project, and then I want to embed this project inside Eclipse Che. So for that, I need to modify in Eclipse Che the assembly IDE war POM.xml file. And I need to add the dependency management for my new dependency, which is my extension. Here I specify the version that I want to use, and here I add the dependency. So now my assembly IDE war file has a dependency, but I need as well, as we are using GUID, I need to add the GUID extension inside the GUID modules. So by adding this line, we have the dependency which will be added, and we will be added as well the extension. So if I do only this, I will see my action and my extension running. But the idea as well is that I should bring my own stack, like for the Go stack. So I can write inside a JSON file in the stack folder. I'm adding a new stack, and this stack is called Jetty stack. And I say that for this stack, I want to use my own Docker image, which contains the Che software. And that's pretty all. And here I select the logo that I want to show when selecting the stack. And to complete this custom assembly, I want to provide a custom template, a custom project that I can use with my, my stack. So for this, I add in the templates a new Che project. And I say clone the template from this GitHub repository. And here I have some tags. I have the Che tag, and in my stack I have defined the Che tag. So when the user will select the Che stack, we will filter all the matching projects, and we will see the sample, this project template. So now it's time to try it. So I already built all the stuff because it can take some time. I have built my assembly of Che into a Docker image. So I will just use Che start, and it will use my local assembly to boot. So here we are using the CLI of Che, which only needs for you to set up Docker. So if you have Docker on your computer, if you have the CLI, you can run Che. So my Che is booting, and when the server will be booted, it will display the URL that I will use to connect to my Che instance. So if you want to debug or provide a new extension, you can connect to this URL, and you have the Swagger stuff, and you can analyze and see all the REST APIs that you have. So if you want to script or code, you can go and see all the REST API of Che. But for our use case, I want to test my extension. So what I will do is create a stack. I will delete all previous workspaces. So here we can see that now we have a Che stack. And if I go to the template, we can see that we have the Che project template. So I hit create. So it's using my custom Che image. It's booting my workspace agent. And at the end, once the workspace agent is booted, it will clone the template project. And then in my Eclipse Che, I should see my custom template and my new extension. Okay. So here we can see the menu. It's on the right because we had this constraint to add on the right, and we can see all the stuff. And for example, I can enter and say build and run my application. So, for example, if I hit my notification, we can see the notification that appears here. And the idea is as well, if I want to debug this stuff, how I can do it. So for that, we are using the Git super dev mode. So I already launched this super dev mode in my Eclipse Che instance, but I can show you how we configure it. So we say I'm using the assembly IDE war. and I say I want to debug my IDE plugin extension. So you go back to your module, and then you enable, so this is normal, because you have to change the URL. And then you say to the browser, compile the GUID module, and then you will be able to debug your application from the web browser. So during that time, the Eclipse IDE is compiling the GUID module. Okay. So now I'm ready to debug. So I can go in the source tab. And here I have the source maps. So all the Java code is mapped to JavaScript code. So my extension was example. I can see my action there. And for example, I will add a breakpoint. It's already there. So if I hit my notification, we are paused, and what you can do is to enter, and we could change, for example, the notification. And if you go back, you can see that you are able to debug your application from Chrome, but you have built it with Java. So that's all for this part of the demo, and I will let Stevan continue.
Oops. So basically what we did is that we first create a custom stack for a Go project, and then we built another plugin which is for using JT. So we create a custom Cloud IDE just for JT. We package a stack inside of Che, and we package a project sample to get started with it. But you could do that if you have to onboard developer of your project very easily on Che. You could use Che IDE, and Che IDE is a very convenient way to onboard developers to your project, because it only requires Docker and Eclipse Che CLI. So the only thing that the developer will have to do will be to do a git clone and then do a Che IDE up, and it will spin up a developer workspace on demand for that. So you can do Che IDE with basic Eclipse Che, but you can do that with a customized Eclipse Che as well. So if you want to provide a customized IDE for your project and use Che IDE, it's completely possible. So it's the latest demo that we have, and Florent is going to show you that he package the custom Che as a Docker image, and he define the CLI to boot that image when we do a Che IDE up. So for example, he is doing the git clone, okay, and then Che IDE up. By default, it will spin up a workspace with default values, but you can provide a Che file which will have all the instructions to provide a better configured workspace with the stack that you want, and so on. And the commands predefined, and so on. So it's starting Eclipse Che and it's creating the workspace directly as well. And it's cloning the source. It's not cloning the source, but it's mounting the source that you have on your local machine. It's synchronizing them inside of the workspace. So he's doing a change in the code and showing you that the change has been synced on the local clone as well. Okay. On peut repartir sur les slides. Okay. So to conclude, you will find the plugin resource center onto our documentation. It is a nice set of documentation that has been contributed by Eclipse source team. So there is a JSON sample, which is a long tutorial where you will explore how to create a new file type, a new code editor, register a project type as well, and create some project-specific actions. All the sample code is on the repository of Eclipse Che under the sample folder. You will find the instructions about how to test those samples directly on the README of each of the samples. Of course, everything for Che is on GitHub or onto our documentation. You can contact us by using our dev list, chedev.eclipse.org. We have an ERC channel, and we are on Gitter as well. And Tuesday, November 15, we will do the first Che Conf. It will be a virtual event, which we will run on Google Hangout. So you can join, you can leave, you can rejoin as you want. Give a look at the program. It's very interesting. You will have speakers from CodeNV, of course, from Bitnami. The keynote will be done by Patrick Chanson from Docker, and we have also speakers from Red Hat, Eclipse Source, and Samsung. Samsung is, by the way, reusing Eclipse Che to build an IoT IDE for Arctic devices. It is called Arctic IDE. You will find more information about that on the website. And if you want a demo, we have a booth if you want to see that as well. And of course, the website is eclipseche.org/che. And we have other sessions during EclipseCon. So this afternoon, there is a session about the language server protocol. We really recommend you to attend this one. It should be pretty interesting. And tomorrow, Jonas from Eclipse Source will do a session, a talk about building an extension, but it will be an experience report, so it might be very interesting. And that's it. Thanks. Have you got any questions? Yeah.
Eclipse IDEs can help you have update site or use the marketplace to kind of add the new plugins automatically.
Not.
You don't need the rebuild the Eclipse.
Yeah.
Possible with Eclipse Che?
Not yet, but we are thinking about that and about how to simplify adding the dependency into the correct assemblies and so on. Yeah, we are thinking about that. We hope that it will be something we will address beginning of next year. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.